Okay, so covering today aspects of human development with an introduction and then also moving into attachment theory. Okay, so human development then. People who study development. Development is basically how individuals grow and change over the lifespan. These are called developmental psychologists. And developmental psychologists are interested in a number of specific kinds of changes. They can look at physiological changes, cognitive changes, and how those interact with your genetic makeup, your culture, your circumstances, or other experiences that you have as a human being. So developmental psychologists study how individuals grow and change over the lifespan. Socialization. This is a very important practice, and developmental psychologists study this in relation to growth and change. So socialization is the process by which children learn the rules and behaviors that a particular society expects of them. So for example, in some societies, it is expected that children will help out in the home environment from a very early age. So you might have, a 4-year-old child who is largely responsible for caring for her 2-year-old sister. Other socialization practices include things like when it's appropriate to express emotion. For example, is it appropriate for you to cry when you get hurt or not? So socialization practices then are very dependent on your culture. Attachment theory looks at this bond that exists between an infant and a primary caregiver. Oftentimes with attachment theory, they have studied how infants interact with their mothers. However, infants can form attachments to anyone in their lives who is a primary caregiver. So this can include fathers, it can include aunts, uncles, babysitters, daycare providers. As long as the child has sustained contact with this person and formed some kind of bond to that person, we can say that this person is an attachment figure. With attachment, one of the things that is very important is this idea of what's called contact comfort. And this is the basis of the infant's first attachment. And contact comfort is basically physical touch. And so you will see in the video from the Harlow monkey studies that this study really does demonstrate the importance of touching in forming that attachment bond. So you'll see that the baby monkey prefers the fake mother who has some kind of capacity for warmth and for touch, the mother who's covered in terry cloth, compared to the mother who only provides food. So this gives us evidence that the attachment bond then is not just dependent on the provision of food. There's also some other things that are involved in this idea of contact comfort, of physical touch is important as well. In terms of measuring attachment, we measure this using a procedure called the strange situation. So I want you to watch the video of the strange situation procedure before continuing with this. So in this strange situation, a parent and infant are separated and then reunited in a laboratory test, and this tests the security of a child's attachment to the primary caregiver. So with the attachment strange situation procedure, we are particularly interested in how the infant reacts when the mother returns to the room after being separated from the child. And there are 3 different types of reactions that an infant might have. So first, most children will have what's called a secure attachment. So secure attachment we see from the baby in the video. The baby is happy when the parent is present, right? The mom is there. She kind of is looking back at the mom to make sure that mom's still there so she can go off into the environment and explore, right? And play with those new toys that are out there, but all the time keeping an eye on mom to make sure that there's still someone there. So if I have any problems, I know I can trust that I have somebody here who's going to take care of me. The child then is distressed by the separation. She cries, right, when her mom leaves the room, and then when her mom comes back, she's still a little bit upset, right, but she calms down very quickly, right, and is immediately comforted by her mother. When the stranger tries to comfort her, she's not having any of that, right? She is not comforted by the stranger. She wants her attachment figure. She wants her mother. So that's secure attachment, and most infants will demonstrate this type of attachment. Insecure attachment then has two subtypes. So we have the avoidant subtype and the anxious ambivalent subtype. With the avoidant subtype, these children don't seem to be distressed at all when the parent leaves. They make little attempts to engage with the parent, and essentially they treat the stranger in the room the same way that they treated their parents. So that's the avoidant attachment style. And then anxious ambivalent, these children cling to the parent. They cry profusely at the separation, and then when the parent returns, they're angry. They are very put off by the parent's behavior. Then, what causes these insecure attachment styles? So there are a number of things that you could potentially look at, but first, abandonment or deprivation in the first year or two of life. So if children cannot basically rely on or trust or count on a parent to be there to provide for them, they can develop this worldview that I can't trust anyone. I can't trust that someone is going to be there to provide for my needs when I need it. Parenting that's abusive, neglectful, or erratic for a number of different reasons. But again, it's creating this environment where the child does not have trust that a parent will provide for them when they need it. A child's own temperament can also be part of what causes an insecure attachment. Particularly when the child's temperament and the parent's temperament don't really match one another. So you might have a parent who's really, really laid back, easygoing, and then you have a child who's very tightly wound, right? Or a child who's incredibly irritable. And so that can create a mismatch between the parent and the child and can get in the way of a secure attachment. And then stressful circumstances in the child's family. So again, going back to this idea that the child needs to be able to trust that there will be someone there to provide for them. Let's say if the parents are going through a very acrimonious divorce, the child might not be able to trust that there will be someone there consistently who can provide for them the way that they need it.